fairly large groups of people that have funds, and those funds can be used to act as security. So it's a sort of funding package with an international bank, which is the way that you would normally approach these things.
And where did you find your benefactors, so to speak?
By just going around, presenting the idea, and talking to some of the people that have done it for me before.
And where are they? Are they Swiss? Are they French?
Well, Swiss is in terms of where they're seated, where they all come from. It's unknown. It's a banking fund. It's a management of a banking fund that gets approached for lots of projects, and we're one, and they think ours is extremely attractive.
Patrick Nally, according to his CV, is the world of sport. Football, rugby, tennis and athletics, all at the highest international level. Celtic's directors are indeed playing in the First League with a sporting hero greater than any they are currently able to field at Parkhead. But throughout the world, scattered through Mr. Nally's sports-promoting career thicker than trophies at Parkhead, are disputes and court cases. In New York, former West Ham, Aston Villa and Welsh international footballer Philip Woosnam is suing Pasco Nally International, a firm with which Patrick Nally was connected, for $300 million, alleging fraud in a joint venture to market football in the US. The case before the federal court pulls no punches.
How do you feel about the civil action against you in New York, which alleges in effect that you are a racketeer?
Mr. Woosnam and Mr. Caspers. Very relaxed. My history again has shown that I've done a tremendous amount for soccer. I started with the United States Soccer Federation in '76 and did a good job in building soccer interest in the United States and helped, I think, in many ways to bring the World Cup there in 1994. The action has been taken by two very good friends of mine, Mr. Caspers and Mr. Woosnam.
Are they still good friends?
They're still extremely good friends, yes, and I wish them well because I think they've done a lot for the sport.
Do you not feel personally pained against an allegation or by an allegation which says in effect, you know, under the RICO rules, if they find against you or against these companies, you are a racketeer?
I find it, the whole American law system, quite amusing and quite dramatic. But having been involved in other sort of high-profile court actions around sport, you know, sport attracts media, attracts attention, attracts great exciting things like racketeering. The fact that I know I'm not a racketeer and I know the people that were involved are not racketeers, then you know, I suppose I'm sort of relaxed about it.
In the world of championship tennis too, Mr. Nally was out of court. That is, he settled out of court in an action brought by Texan multimillionaire Lamar Hunt in a dispute about sports promotion and profit.
The settlement was, again, it was exactly the same example of using the law. Lamar Hunt had a major battle with the International Tennis Federation and the MIPTC, the Men's Pro Council, back in whenever it was. And he basically was fighting for a restraint of trade, that he couldn't get his World Championship tennis to be run. They were stopping players, they were stopping officials, and as he had been, if you like, the architect of professional tennis, I think he felt aggrieved and he took it to court.
At the friendly games in New Zealand and in a soccer deal with a German company, relations became strained between Mr. Nally and his associates, who came away from sporting deals with him, which they claim. Meanwhile, New York looms.
When I first heard of the term racketeer, it just horrified the hell out of me. But of course, when you actually delve into it and understand what is being done, and people creating, if you like, through the media, and perhaps this is a reflection on the media, if somebody calls a company a racketeer, they're assuming that that company immediately will want to stop it, pay a large check, and get it all over and done with. Now, is that a responsible thing to say, then I'm being judged as a racketeer because somebody is using the media to, you know, pan up, to blow up as much as they can a problem to get a financial settlement? I don't find in most people that I deal with, if they're responsible people, that they sit and discuss. If they have concerns, we discuss it, we review it, and we resolve it.
Until he actually brings together all this money and all the component parts and puts down the first brick at Canvas Lang, you've got to doubt all these people. You're entitled to doubt all these people because we've waited so long. This is still no more than a dream. And if he comes up with the money, then I'll tell you that this is the most wonderful businessman and wheeler and dealer in the whole of the UK. But until he does that, you've got to hold judgment on him. And Superstadia and Celtic's directors.
The Celtic board have been showing us plans for new stadiums for the last 10 years or so, of one description or another, none of which has come to fruition. It's great to have plans, it's great to have drawings. I think what the supporters want to see is the bulldozers moving in.
Bulldozers for a new Celtic park, but when? If, as Patrick Nelly claims, the £20 million foundation finance for Cambuslang is in place, why, given the baying fans and the pressing Mr McCann, does the Celtic board not spread the good news, reveal where the money is to come from and when?
It will happen, and yes, obviously it will be very helpful to us and to the club to put all these lingering doubts down and that the thing is a reality, and it is a reality. But of course, what we can't do is force third parties that are taking substantial financial responsibilities to do it, to go at a speed that's being dictated perhaps because of some media attention.
Will we hear this month, do you think, or?
In the month of November, yes, I think probably we will. Obviously, everybody would like to have heard it earlier, but yes, I think it'd be fairly easy for us to be able to get all those statements put out before the end of the month.
With Patrick Nally on the team, just how much better can life get at Paradise? Well, according to Mr Nally, a share of the whole development's profits will go to Celtic Football Club as well.
In terms of percentages, I would think probably in the region of 30–40%, but that is a little detail that's still not all finally thrashed out. But they'll get a reasonable percentage of the profits from that facility, because of course they're also a catalyst to attract to that facility. So it's a very fair, very reasonable share of earnings.
In the no money needed world of Patrick Nally, where football clubs get no-cost stadia and as yet unnamed moneymen pledge their millions to make it happen, it comes as no surprise to discover that Mr Nally, just like Celtic, will not have to put in a penny at Cambuslang. So what do he and his company get from the deal?
What I want is the keys of a multi-purpose stadium built to our specification handed over to me. So there will be a contractor that will have a fixed price design and build. The contractor will be the one concerned that the money's there, not Celtic, because that contractor's got to build it within that price. My interest is when he hands it over to me. My interest is going to be in 1996 when I can turn up for the opening ceremony.
Celtic's directors are committed to one course of action, to fight off Fergus McCann and face the future with their own bold vision at Cambuslang. But what if the moneymen fail to chip in their millions?
If Cambuslang doesn't get off the ground, Celtic will continue to go down because they will need more money to rebuild Parkhead, and they need money for players, and they can't do both. And I would suspect Celtic will continue on a downward spiral. I think then we would be facing the distinct possibility of this club sinking into a mediocrity from which they might never recover.
If the trophies and the glory days are ever to return to Parkhead, one thing is certain. It will need money, a great deal of it, to provide a fitting home for Celtic, put a winning team on the park. Canadian millionaire Fergus McCann says the board can't deliver.
They're not even paying their bills on time. Can't even handle that. They're having to sell players, you know, to pay for another players. They're up against the wall.
The board have said these people are not the right people for Celtic. Well, who is the right people for Celtic? An Arab sheikh comes along and puts in 40 million.
Not knowing Mr McCann personally, he strikes me as being a resourceful man in more ways than one. I would be very surprised if he is approaching the EGM as a lost cause. I feel he may well have an ace or two up his sleeve.
Entertainment that attracts fans, the attendance will be even lower at the next home game. Pat Bonner was the first keeper in action, saving from Ian Ferguson in the 9th minute. St Johnstone clearly set out to frustrate Celtic, and the home team were lacking in inspiration. The Saints worked their